How's it going? I'm John.
I'm Ben.
And we're doing Sounds Like Nickelback without bursting the bank on Andertons TV. So Nickelback, obviously a very dividing band. I love Nickelback. I will own it like 100%. I absolutely love Nickelback. You're going to be Chad.
I've always been a Chad.
And I'm going to be Ryan Peake. So you're going to be the main man. I'm going to be the side man here, really. But Nickelback, like, let me just go into this. Reasons why Nickelback are good. I'm just going to get so much internet hate. I'm ready for it. Big riffs.
They have got big riffs.
Good melodies. The tones are very like
scooped, but they're
or way like heavy in the mix. Like it's so either end of the spectrum. I just love Nickelback. Anyway, they originally go for quite metal bits of kit. They're kind of a metal band on paper.
Yeah.
Obviously their music is not. Some of it's very kind of middle of the road and a bit cheesy and stuff. They kind of go for the Messer, Explorer, pointy guitar vibe. And we're going to try and approximate that for $1.5 grand.
Yeah. With that in mind, if we put both our budgets together, we still can't afford a dual rectifier.
Sad.
So let's start with
guitars.
Yeah, I think guitars. So Chad, obviously, he never made it as a wise man, but he did actually cut it. Has used PRS. I think he uses a hollow body on some of the sort of softer stuff.
He's a big gibbo guy though, isn't he?
Big gibbo guy. It's Les Paul Customs, the 7-string Explorer, which
I really like, the black one.
We're on a budget here.
Yeah.
They do some 7-string stuff. We're going to do it all with 6-string, but we have a secret weapon up our sleeves, which is going to help this. So
just over there. PRS, you mentioned.
PRS, yeah.
So you need humbuckers, right? This is not a single coil band at all.
They do use EMG pickups, so...
There's a Mark Holcomb there.
That would be sick, but...
899. No. The question I was going to ask you, what's your split between amp and, well, gear and guitar?
I want to go tube for something like this.
So quite a lot for the amp.
Getting that Messer sound is going to, without using a Messer, is going to be so tough.
I'm going to probably do the same. Yeah.
So I'm kind of willing to dock back a bit on the guitar, but it's got to have some amount of decent output on the pickups. So as much as I'd love to go something like Epiphone Prophecy, it's just going to be a little bit too much on the budget. So maybe I'm thinking we go venture into the rock section, see if we've got any like affordable single cut like LTDs or something like that might have some higher output pickups.
Okay.
We are in Land of Rock and
pointing guitars.
That's kind of cool. Single pickup.
Chad does use quite a few neck pickup sounds, so you do need both.
That is also cool. Is it too Hetfield rather than Chad?
It's quite Hetfield.
It is quite Hetfield, but it is...
There is no doubt that they were inspired by Metallica.
Only 559. Christ, it is very Hetfield. It looks active, but judging by the push-pull, and there isn't a battery thing, so I'm going to say this is probably passive. I mean, ESP will cut the heavy sound.
That's a great shout. How much is it?
559. It's a third pretty much of the budget up, but I can still get a pretty decent tube amp and the secret weapon for $1,000. I still think that's easily doable. So I think I'm sold on this LTD EX200. This is going to be my Chad guitar, and it is a very Chad guitar, I feel.
Insert Chad theme. I'm going to get my guitar,
it's your turn.
Which means probably going back this way. So Ryan Peake. We've talked about them both actually being gibbo guys, not just Chad. Ryan Peake uses a lot of Explorers and Flying Vs. Again, pointy, but like classic and kind of retro. He doesn't have a single like brightly coloured guitar. They're all like wood and beaten up and old school. So when we were here, the Epiphones that were screaming at me and gibbo stuff was stuff like this, but obviously that's a full fat gibbo and we're breaking the bank and then someone else's bank as well.
Yeah.
So not that one. This V that we were next to earlier is sitting at around 519 quid. It's got a few modern appointments. Nice little bit of rubber there so it doesn't slip off my knee. Last time I played a V, I didn't know how to sit with it, so we'll figure that out in a bit.
I can't actually imagine you sitting with a Flying V, so I'm so excited to see this.
It was an interesting experience, but we'll see. This is going to do the trick. Again, I don't need a bar because I'm a rhythm guitarist.
Yeah.
So just these two, if not just that, is what I need. It's got no fancy push and pull. Got 3 dials. I'm just going to use that and that all the way up and play some chugs and power chords. So this will do the job. Ryan does use a 81 and 85 EMG in all of his guitars, actually, I think. In the kind of era that I think of Nickelback, like the This Means War, Dark Horse era, and the drop A flat era. But this will be fine. We'll push it enough through an amp and maybe just drive it.
Yeah. I think it would do the job for sure. I think the big burning question here is really amps, how we're going to get anything dual rectifier wise without buying a dual rectifier.
So I've got just under $1,000 to play with.
Yeah, I think we're both pretty much looking at the same there. So we're gonna need something pretty damn saturated. EVH obviously do mini, like they do like the 5150 mini heads.
Yep.
But again,
Just out of budget.
because the mini head's coming at about £500-600. Then I've got to put a decent vintage 30 style cab on top of it.
Yeah.
What I am thinking, and taking a leaf out of your book from when I kicked your ass doing the Ultimate Metal Rig video.
Comment to say otherwise, what you're saying?
I'm actually gonna swap roles here, and I think the 5150 Iconic is gonna do a decent job here for me.
Excellent choice.
On this video, I'm gonna agree. If you
It is
go
an
back and
excellent
watch
choice.
our
It
other
is an
video,
excellent choice.
oh, that's way better. Emulated speaker output on it, which I'm not really going to need for this, but the important thing is it's going to have more than enough gain on it. And the good thing with the 5150s, I find compared to like the old 6505s and dual rectifiers, is I don't really need to run an overdrive in front of it to tighten it up. They're a pretty tight gain structure as it is. To be honest, I think this, like having the resonance knob on this to get some of that sort of low end thump that the dual rec would have, I think that's going to be a killer.
They don't sound like a kind of tube screamery high gain
No.
event. They sound very old school amp and guitar gain. So that'll be sound as it is.
I think, yeah. So this comes in at 699 of the King's English pounds. Still leaves me about 250 bucks.
250.
250 roughly. We've got the secret weapon, which we won't reveal yet.
So this is the next thing in the line. We've got a Black Star head. This is sitting at around 799. The cab is going to be a bit more.
Yeah.
But again, a nice option. But over here, it's like the Clarkson. This is good, but I like this. We've got orange, very British, not necessarily very Nickelback, but like I was just saying, with their guitar sound, it's kind of sludgy sometimes. It's not a massively tight rhythm sound and quite mid-rangey. And when I think of orange, I kind of put them in that end of the distortion spectrum anyway.
Yeah.
So in terms of what we've got on here, some twins are going to be a bit expensive and pricey. OR15 could work.
It's just not going to be saturated enough.
Well, yeah.
But
Super Crush, we've got Dual Terror, but the most metal of them all, this guy. So I'm obviously going to need a cab. These two come in at, so what are we saying?
well, you actually, if you buy the cab with the head as well, you
429.
do get a small bit of discount as well. So the cab's 249,
Yeah.
but you do, if you buy it with the head,
You get £37.35 off.
I'd say that's worth doing it. And more importantly, it's vintage 30 loaded. So obviously I've not got vintage 30 in the combo that I'm using,
Yeah.
but obviously they're using big old Mesa 412s, which are going to be vintage 30 loaded. So this is going to be...
It'll be the
think-
the ticket. It's very no nonsense as well. I just need a simple high gain riffing rig. We're not going to do any acoustic stuff or any of that chorus.
I still think... So this will leave you a bit budget for pedals still. I do think it would be worth... Because obviously you've got slightly weaker pickups.
Yep.
And we're going to be going pretty low. So I still think maybe running an overdrive...
We could give it a go, yeah.
I think that's still going to be a decent shout. So I think amp-wise,
We're sorted.
and axes, we're sorted. Let's go and talk about the special source pedal. As we said at the start of the video, Nickelback obviously used 7 strings and ridiculous tunings throughout their career.
Pretty low down, yeah.
We've got one guitar, and I'm not a fan of constantly, changing tunings and that. You've got to change strings, it sounds horrible. So, the secret weapon, which is going to become the new DSL 40 of the Andertons Sounds Like series, is the Digitech drop pedal.
I have 3 of these.
Yeah, I've got 2 of them as well, because one of them is completely mullered.
Well, actually, I technically have 2 because I gave one to a mate and he hasn't given it back.
Oh, nice.
But, we're fine. We're fine.
Called him out.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Let's do it on camera.
He owes me merch from his band instead. That's what I've said. Just keep it and I'll have a few hoodies or something.
So yeah, this is going to be, I think these come in at about £139 roughly, might be ever so slightly more.
Yeah, they have gone up. They will be like a historically important pedal, I think.
Yeah, like there's a reason that we've not had stock of these for ages, to be honest with you.
It's kind of like, it's not the sexiest option having like a utility pedal in one of these, but like, I get excited about utility things now. It's like, I could do that.
You hit a certain point in life where kitchen hardware becomes the best.
Exciting.
Oh,
It's true.
This is your new set of knives.
Yeah.
The second you walk into Wix and get excited, that's it.
I love Robert Dias, man. It's so good. So this is going to be our secret weapon. We're both going to take one of these on board with us. One thing I thought of actually, I'm going to need fuzz for
I'm
the
thinking about
start
drives.
of Burn It to the Ground.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's a pretty...
It's definitely on the fuzz end of things, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely so. I'm not a fuzz guy, per se.
Is that a fuzz?
It's
Yeah,
kind of
it is.
warm and mid-rangey, isn't it?
No, it's definitely fuzz.
It's definitely filtered as well, all the low ends out of it.
I don't need anything too expensive. It's got a couple of different fuzz options on it as well. And I think the Fundamental series, they look cool, and that's what's important here. It's having a cool looking rig, not how it sounds.
Sliders are good.
Sliders are good. I like your nails, bro. You'll have a drop pedal as well.
Yeah, and that's going to make it so flubby and like almost take the gain away. So
yeah, that's the one thing
I
with
do
these
need-
pedals. If you haven't used one, if you then start to go below about 3 semitones, which we will be, it can darken the sound overall a little bit more. So
yeah, we'll be going about
I've got enough gain and
seven semitones.
obviously you've only got 3 like knobs on your amp, so you're going to need something just to
You need a few more knobs to tweak.
maybe Nuix or
Yeah,
Tone
Nuix.
City. I think the Tube Man is meant to be Nuix's version of a Tube Screamer. So
And I think to cut off the low end, this is going to completely go back what I said about 10 minutes ago. I'm actually going to have a Tube Screamer. The Tube Man from NUX I think is going to be fine budget-wise, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
not too expensive. It's about 40 quid. I'm just going to roll with it.
it might sound terrible, and if it does, just let us know.
If
It's
it does,
fine.
we'll be back.
And we won't redo it.
There it is.
Ben,
How's that focus going?
not well.
Tube Man.
You want to see a trick? Oh, that's fine.
Bro's giving me anxiety each time. Oh, God. I can't watch.
It's £40.
It's my stock.
Sorry. I should be a bit more
And on that
respectful,
note, I think we've got the rig sorted. John's going to stop flipping pedals. He
think the
might
custom
keep
shop
doing
next.
it in the video room. We're going to find
do it
out.
with an amp.
At least
Stay
there's carpet
tuned.
in the video room, so if you drop it, it's fine. Let's head back to the video room and sound like Nickelback Glory.
All right, we are back in the video room. We have our rigs all dialed in and plugged in. And you've probably just heard there an example of a track. And I think we did a relatively good job.
Yeah.
Like, you know, gear considered, obviously there are tons of combinations we could have gone for, and I was shooting from the hip at least.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think we did a good job. So I'll go over mine first, I guess. The Flying V. You may have seen me trying to figure out how to sit with it. It does have that little rubber kind of... what's the word? Strip, that's the word, on this bottom bit here, which does help. Like, you know, the alternative way, the kind of metal old school way, if you had a footstool, would be sitting like this, but...
So your Chapman won't be a Flying V?
Nope.
And you get
Nope.
No, it's fair enough.
I like Explorers though. Explorers are a bit flatter, aren't they? But there's just something about it just wants to fall on the floor like this when you have a V. But it was fine. Standing up, I'm sure it'd be all right. Anyway, yeah, so we're talking about the pickups. They're not too high output, like they're not too...
they need a bit of push to them.
Yeah, so I did have that Tube Man, which you can see from, the overhead camera, which you'll see is dialed in kind of weird. So tones all the way off, because in the Nickelback recordings at least, live tone may be completely different, but I'm going from the recordings here. It's quite a rolled off top. It's not like a fizzy thing. So at least for the rhythms, I've dialed the tone all the way back to just smooth it out a bit. Drive and level, just noon. Without the Tube Man, the orange sounds like this. In standard. Actually drop D. Let me correct myself again. So, again, nothing too crazy there, but the Tube Man...
Just demonstrate it in context with the drop, just to...
Sure, yeah.
Because that's where it comes into play the most, I think.
So when we're down -5, this will be drop A. None of those examples...
Just do A sharp.
Yeah, so let's just do this. Like, this is really low. Without the Tube Man, not only like is it a bit, rough in the low end and a bit flubby, but you need a bit of push on it. And then it kind of just gives it the oomph, because when you're down there, you need so much to keep that, I don't know, just momentum in the low end or something, and the drive to just compress it and give it a bit of drive. So, Tubeman, perfect application there. Tiny bit noisy, but that's fine.
I think it's one of those things we could have maybe added. I mean, I totally forgot my amp's got built-in noise gate, but obviously...
It does. If I remember, that one is a subtle gate from the video.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish, you know, I had a noise gate. Could probably squeeze one in cost-wise, maybe. I don't know. I can't remember what this comes to now, but the drop is a must, 100%. Yeah. It feels great as well. Like, there's no real artifacts. There are some with most pitch shifters nowadays, no matter how good they are or expensive, when you go low down. But on, like, distorted rhythms, you can't tell at all.
No.
So, really, really good pedal. Love it to bits. Onto the amp, the Dark Terror. Very simple amp. Can you see with this boom arm here, Oz? Can you see those controls? So, obviously it's on. We're in 7 watt mode. Could go 15 watt, but 7 just did the job. Volume, just below noon. What dB are we at here? About 90 when we're both playing, I reckon. Shape, just down the middle, because it just worked. On the left, I'll do the full rotation. Just too mid and too kind dark. Of nasally, yeah. And that's just too like scooped and low MIDI for some reason. So in the middle felt great, and then gain, I didn't push it too much because one gets a bit angry and noisy. Yeah. But that with the Tubeman set where it was enough, to be honest. And I didn't need too much gain because Nickelback do have, you know, a healthy amount of gain, but it's not like oversaturated and kind of messy gain. It's very kind of tight with some of those riffs where it's you need all that percussive stuff. So I'm dead chuffed. It did the job. Onto yours.
Onto Chad.
Yeah.
In many ways, more than one. So, my rig, there was a lot I learnt from this. Obviously, guitar, drop pedal, John has explained, does exactly what it says on the tin. Mm-hmm. The fuzz pedal, I thought we'd end up using for the intro of Burn It to the Ground.
Yeah.
We didn't end up using it. It was just too much. And actually, it's a very weird tone when that first kicks in, but the amp gave us just what we needed. And I think having watched them performance when they played at Red Rocks, the tone again is completely different. Like you say, live tone to studio recorded tone is night and day. So we've gone, do you know what? It was a mistake. We could have probably substituted it out for something else.
Maybe an EQ pedal.
Yeah, EQ pedal might have helped a little bit.
Sounds more like a filtered thing. So
yeah, definitely. So this is just, let me flick this over. Guitar into amp. Drum fills on the guitar again. So I was pretty happy with how it sounded, to be fair. So the reverb pedal we'll talk about a little bit after the amp, because we only really used it in This Means War.
Yeah.
Just that bit as it leads into the verse. So amp-wise, trying to replicate a dual rectifier is one of the most difficult things I've done, to be honest with you, but kept it relatively scooped, to be honest, and we're pushing the lows quite a bit on this as well, because that's what the dual rectifier is. It's in that lows, that flubbiness. So the resonance knob was super useful on this. So if I'm going to face away from the camera while I tweak and chug. Currently, resonance is all the way up. That's it all the way off, and you really, particularly with a combo amp where you've not got that big mess of 412 kicking out the low end, that resonance really helps. If I bring it all the way back in, you need that thump for it. But
maybe if you're in go something like drop 6 semitones.
Oh gosh, that's going to be...
And try bringing back that res, because that could be good to kind of high pass and get rid of some of that low end. up a bit. And this is something that kind of we're feeling in the room. Across the internet, it probably won't translate, but that can be used to just tighten up that low end if you're down 6 semitones and drop.
Which is why I didn't really need to use an overdrive for it. And again, game-wise, it's literally about 11 o'clock, so
yeah, that's got tons on tap.
No way using the full potential of it. And when we did the, is it Feed the Machine?
Yes.
Riff, in drop C, very percussive, so like that was as defined. Like, I felt like I didn't need any more gain, any overdrive on it, so that gave me absolutely everything I needed there. So yeah, amp-wise, I'm actually very happy with the choice there.
And weirdly, our tones are almost polar opposites. Like that's very scoop, this is very mid-rangey, but I think together, like it's fun for me when I was playing.
In the room, it actually sounds pretty good.
Great. You'll be the judges. But for now, I've had a great time.
And then finally, I had the Sky Surfer, like say for This Means War, just the little lead bit to add some space to it coming out of the.
Yeah.
So it just adds a little bit of space. Again, nothing too drastic, and I think you could use it if you were doing Feed the Machine, the intro bit as well, which we didn't do in the video. So it comes across quite well there. But I think overall, I'm pretty happy with the rigs we've used. Obviously, if you want to find any of the gear online, then we'll have links below in the description anyway, so you can check it out for exact pricing on the Andertons website as well. But like I say, I think there's certain things we could have improved on, but that's the beauty of doing this. I think if we were to maybe do like a buy busting the bank next time, obviously then we'll have unlimited budget, but it will still give us a bit more of a direction in terms of that I wouldn't need a fuzz pedal next time.
Right, yeah.
At all, you know, and maybe I could get like a slightly better reverb. Overdrive, you could probably upgrade on a little bit as well. I mean, everything. To be honest, at that point, we could just get a couple of Dual X and Mesa 412s in here and it would sound pretty sick.
Let us know if you'd like to see the Nickelback by Bursting the Bank, because we'd happily oblige.
And then we can get some 412s in here.
Yeah, oh no, and someone else can carry them, please.
Yeah, I'm not carrying them up here.
Oz?
Yeah, Oz is definitely nominated for that. So, in terms of total costings of said rigs, mine actually came in, if I went with the fuzz pedal, mine would actually come in £32 above, but I'm taking out the fuzz pedal, so it doesn't count. I'm still under budget then. So
by quite a bit probably, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, the fuzz pedal was £95, so that would actually...
Get guitar strap, gigabag.
£1,437, so I could be seated really high up and far at the back for Nickelback if I wanted to.
I could get a probably front row ticket, maybe even like side stage, you know, that first little tier where the guest list area is. Because mine came in at 1377.65. So nice bit of change there.
0.65, that's good.
Yeah, so that's, I mean, I could get another pedal with that, to be honest. I could have got that EQ, maybe a bit of verb, different overdrive, but I'll commit to this. It was good.
I think the EQ might help, particularly as you've only got one tone knob on there to actually shape EQ, but that's the beauty of doing this. We live and learn. And then next time, it doesn't matter what we buy, anything.
If you were to do your own without busting the bank rig, put it in the comments and put us in our places.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And we won't use that advice next time because we have no budget.
We are going to shoot from the hip because that's how we do it. Nice. All right.
Yeah, I think that was a success. Be sure to like and subscribe. Remember, as soon as we get to 1 million, one of those clones will be going out.
And also, Andertons has a second channel called Andertons 2, where you can just hear guitars, no talking, uninterrupted guitar playing. So head on over to that if you wish to check it out.
I've been Ben.
I've been John.
We will see you on the next one.